The cabin fell silent when the flight attendant stepped forward, not to serve drinks, but to demand Dr. Xavier Cole and his wife Leanna leave their first-class seats. Cameras rolled as security dragged him down the aisle. Moments later, Leanna's body hit the floor. Lifeless, passengers screamed, the crew froze, and the airline's special accommodations excuse exploded into the scandal they'd spend months trying to bury. Dr. Xavier Cole wasn't just any man in first class. He was a world-renowned heart surgeon, the man who had saved senators, CEOs, and strangers without asking a single question about their bank accounts or skin color. Today, he wasn't on call. He was with his wife, Leanna, celebrating 35 years of marriage with the trip of a lifetime to Paris. They had arrived early, tickets confirmed, boarding passes scanned. The airline had even sent them a thank you for your loyalty email the night before. But once they stepped onto that jet bridge, the mood shifted. Two flight attendants eyed them the way a security guard might study a stranger in a restricted area. The first smile Xavier received was brittle, more policy than kindness. Still, he ignored it. Leanna was radiant, her new scarf draped over her shoulders, her laughter lighting up the cabin as they settled into their seats. They were barely done stowing their carry-ons when a young, sharply dressed white couple boarded. Chatting with the lead attendant at the door, seconds later, that same attendant marched straight to Xavier and Leanna. "Sir, we'll need you and your wife to move. We have passengers with special accommodations who need these seats." Xavier looked up. "We booked and paid for these seats in full. We're not moving." Her smile thinned. "Sir, this is not optional." Years in operating rooms had taught him to keep calm under pressure, but the look in her eyes told him this wasn't about policy. It was about permission. Permission to decide who belonged in first class and who didn't. When he refused a second time, the crew's tone hardened. The word non-compliant was spoken just loud enough for the nearby passengers to hear. Then came disruptive. Within minutes, security boarded. Cameras went up, passengers whispered. Xavier was ordered to stand. "I'll walk," he said, rising slowly. But as he stepped into the aisle, Leanna reached for him. "Please don't," she whispered. He squeezed her hand, but before he could say anything, she gasped. Her fingers clawed at the seatback. Her eyes widened and then her body crumpled forward. The cabin erupted. Passengers shouted for help. A nurse rushed forward. Flight attendants scrambled for the defibrillator. Xavier shoved past security and dropped to his knees beside her. "She's not breathing. Get oxygen now." The young couple meant to take their seats stood frozen, the color draining from their faces. Paramedics stormed the plane. The pilot announced an emergency return to the gate. Xavier never let go of her hand as they wheeled her down the aisle, cameras flashing from every direction. By the time they reached the hospital, Leanna was on a ventilator. The doctors called it a stress-induced cardiac episode. Xavier called it what it was, the direct result of humiliation and abuse. The airline's public statement was cold. "We regret the unfortunate medical emergency. No mention of names, no admission of fault that night." Xavier made one call to Isaiah Brooks, his old college roommate, and one of the country's most feared civil rights attorneys. By morning, the footage was viral. Hashtags exploded. Justice for Leanna. Passengers came forward with testimonies. They'd overheard crew members making snide remarks before boarding. One leaked a text message sent mid-flight. "Dragging this old black dude off first class? No idea why." Isaiah assembled a legal team before the airline could even float a settlement offer. "They'll try to buy your silence," Isaiah warned. "They'll want you to sign an NDA and clear them of wrongdoing." "They'll get neither," Xavier said. The case gained momentum fast. Civil rights groups, black physicians associations, even members of Congress demanded accountability. The airline stock dipped, whistleblowers leaked damning evidence, training slides telling crew to keep first-class presentation consistent with brand image illustrated exclusively with white passengers. Then came the smoking gun, gate footage showing a ticket agent looking at Xavier and Leanna's passports, then giving a coworker a side-eye smirk. Another clip caught a flight attendant on the jet bridge, saying, "They don't look like they belong up there." The video hit prime time, public outrage went nuclear. In court, Xavier sat silent as witness after witness testified. Former crew members admitted they were told to find a reason to move black passengers from first class. Internal emails joked about optics and keeping the cabin on brand. The defense tried to argue Leanna's collapse was unrelated, but when the full cabin footage played, Xavier's calm refusals, the crew's escalating hostility, Leanna's sudden gasp, even the judge's expression changed. "This is about the consequences of treating dignity as negotiable," she said. For weeks, Xavier balanced court hearings with nights in the ICU. Then, 10 days after the incident, Leanna's fingers curled weakly around his hand. Her eyes opened. Tears welled before she could speak. A day later, from her hospital bed, She recorded a statement that shook the country. "I am not your headline. I am not your unfortunate event. I am a woman who was treated like I didn't matter, but I do. And so does everyone who's been quietly pushed aside without a camera to catch it." The video hit 1 million views in 12 hours. Protests erupted in airports nationwide. The Department of Transportation launched a formal investigation into racial discrimination in air travel. Xavier and Leanna founded Wings of Justice, a nonprofit documenting racial bias in transportation and lobbying for federal reform. Their case became the blueprint for legislative change, and a reminder that sometimes the fight for dignity starts in the smallest space imaginable. One seat you paid for and refused to give up. If someone tried to take your paid seat, would you move or stand your ground? Tell us where you're watching from. Smash that like, share this story, and subscribe because dignity isn't negotiable.